Welcome to my podcast of Really Related. This is Serena Ferrano, your interviewer, and we have a very special guest here with us today to talk about his childhood story. You may have heard from him from the news or from his very own book, Half Brother. Please welcome to the stage Ben Tomlin.
Hi guys, thanks for having me today. I'm Ben Tomlin. I'm 13 years old and I currently live in Vancouver. I moved there from Toronto when I was just a young boy, and there was quite a lot of stuff going on, and there was a lot of things happening in my life. So I'd just love to start this interview and tell you guys all about it.
How did you first feel about the move, Ben?
Well, personally, I lived in Toronto. I had neighborhoods, I had friends, I had places I knew, and I didn't even know I was going until the very last moment. And we were moving for a monkey for my dad's project, so I was just really confused why I had to leave everything behind for a project my dad was working on. Around this time it was happening, it was around my birthday, and I just wanted to feel celebrated, and it was just going by so fast, and honestly it just made me feel like not in the picture. So that was really rough for me, especially hard making new friends and fitting in.
That must have been really rough for you, especially just at your age. It can be a tough time. Did you face any problems early in when you first moved?
Well, when I first moved, I was obviously really confused because they brought a chimp home, and I was like, okay, maybe this is one of the my dad's experiments. But it didn't seem like a chimp. It kind of felt like a replacement for me. And my mom started spending every single day with him. My dad was constantly working on him. And I was kind of turned into a caregiver. I mean, he was constantly attached to me, and I was being used to teach him sign language, everything. So I just felt I couldn't quite live my life. Also, with my first friends, we kind of they were kind of a bad influence, and his name was Tim and Mike and some other people, and we ended up vandalizing a building, and I had to transfer to a public school. So that was just like really fast, and my dad got really mad. So I just really, was scared, confused, and left out.
Some tough problems someone can have just in one person. I couldn't imagine what kind of feelings you could have gone through, especially at the age of 13. But about your personality, what do you want other people to think of you when they read your book or think about your story?
Well, I think that my story is more than just me because I think I can speak for many kids when I say moving to a new place for a parent's job can be very rough. I mean, you feel displaced, everything you knew is gone, and it can just feel really unsettling. And obviously, when this happens, we can get very emotionally disrupted, and that can lead us to make bad decisions like vandalizing buildings or acting irrational. And that can all cause more problems that just add to the pile of, how rough it is for all this to happen. And so I think I speak for more than just myself when I say I want people to see me not as a troubled kid, not as like someone with problems or who's emotionally upset, as someone who's trying to build their new life in a place where it's really hard to and make a change.
That's a really good point. That's a really good influence to all the teenagers out there as well. How about your relationship with Zan? Was it mutual or forced? What did you do most days with him? How did you feel about him?
Well, at the start, when I first got to know him, I wanted absolutely nothing to do with him. Like, he was a burden. He was the reason I even had to move here. But as time went on and I was kind of forced to interact with him and teach him sign language, even my very first interaction, which is teaching my name and holding him, I started to feel more than just hate. I started to feel like he was my brother because every time I would go around, he would be there, and he was starting to get attached to me too. And even as days went on, my main purpose was to teach him sign language for my father, but I feel like it ended up becoming more than just a teaching. I became a friend to him, and I think that's like a really important relationship I had. Also, as our friendship progressed and time went on, my father got more harsh with Zan, and he would often leave him in horrible conditions and mistreat him horribly. So I had to be as an emotional support, and I just think that without me there, Zan wouldn't like feel safe. And I just think that the emotional trauma we shared really brought us closer together.
It's incredible how much you were there for Zan after everything he went through, especially with his dad. I heard. I read the book myself. Like it's a crucial role you had to play to make sure Zan felt safe. But if you could change one major decision or two, what would it be and why?
Well, firstly, one thing I always hit myself over is the fact that I didn't talk about what Zan was going through earlier. I had to like sit back and watch Zan be hurt over and over. And I know I felt threatened by my father, but I should have acted way earlier because no one, animal or not, should have to endure that. I mean, it was just like really rough on him, and I should have stepped forward, told the media, and spread my word way before any of this happened. I mean, Zan wasn't just an experiment. He was scared, and I was just watching it and letting it happen. So I feel like I could have definitely stood up and made a change for Zan. Um, a second thing, which I'm like, it's like I always get so embarrassed by this, is when I had a crush on Jennifer. I never really had crushes, and she was really pretty, and I didn't know how to deal with that, and I really wanted her to like me too. As a young teen, I didn't know how to deal with that, so I thought of what my dad did. Whenever he wanted something to work out, he would look at it a scientific way and manipulate it to make it work. So I started keeping track of everything Jennifer did, how she reacted to me, and wrote things as if she was just some project, something to be manipulated. And when she saw this, she felt so dehumanized. And she was just honestly shocked that someone she thought was her friend was looking at her this way. So she went ballistic, and we lost most of what we had. And I feel like I should have never done that. And if I didn't, we could still be close.
It must have been very challenging and overwhelming. Um, but how did your perspective change on your father, like before the move, like during the move, and even like after or soon after the move?
Um, at the start, I was excited to move, well, not totally excited, but, the thought of moving was quite weird because I was going to a new place. And I had my father with me, so I was obviously, like, hi, we're father and son, that's great. And as we went on, I started noticing that he got less fatherly like and more like invest in this project type. Like he had like two different personalities. Like at dinner he'd be like hi, but he started to be like, really cruel to Zan. And at the start I never pictured my father as someone who would hurt an animal, but even as I saw him bite Zan's ear to assert dominance, I saw him trap him into a chair to try and make him scared and listen to him. And all these things were very crucial that made me think, why are you doing this? Like, how could you be so possibly cruel? And all this just led me to think, is my dad a good person? Like, is he just frustrated? Is he worried about the project failing and financial stuff? Like, or is he just, does he enjoy this? Does this make him feel like more dominant? Like, I just, I was just like really shocked. I was just really shocked how someone I saw and loved my whole life could be so mean.
Would you say that the way your father started treating Zan going forward, knowing this experiment wasn't doing as well, did it start reflecting on you, like through aggression, or like verbal abuse?
I started to kind of loathe my father through that, and even though this kind of happened, it kind of made me closer with my mother because even though my dad was doing all these horrible things, she still felt bad for Zan and she kind of was on my side. And for me, I started feeling anger towards my father, and he started to feel like less of a family member and more of a burden in my life that I couldn't get rid of, who I had to pretend to love. And he started to feel like a stranger, a cruel, mean stranger who tries to be family with me.
Conversation would this story belong into today?
I think this is a very contemporary subject, so it could kind of go in. I think I would sort it into three types of conversations. Firstly, the kind of obvious one, if you're like into like science or like changes or finding out something new, that could definitely be for you because this story, we literally each a chimpanzee sign language, American Sign Language. And the thought of an animal understanding and interpreting human words is just really amazing. So if you think like one day you want to be a scientist, find out new things about animals, this could be for you. Also, for anyone who likes believing in social justice or bringing things that aren't usually talked about to light, this is for you because even if you're oppressed or like blocked by, let's say, my father, who's obviously as feels threatening to me if I talk about it, even if you feel scared, you can talk about it and show what's happening. So anyone who's going through something rough or knows someone or an animal who's going through like abuse, this could be a good opportunity for them to speak up and maybe I hope this could give you courage to do that. Also, if you are like suffering with like a new move, or even if you feel replaced by, I know you guys probably aren't getting replaced by a chimpanzee, but if you feel like replaced by like a younger sibling, or you feel your parents' attention are going on something that's not you, you could read about this and understand where they're coming from and try and connect with what their attention is on too.
Sentence was removed from the book. Which one would collapse the book?
I don't think I would collapse it, but I think you would definitely make it less meaningful. Um, Family is defined by care and responsibility, not biology. I think this line, like, I know obviously the whole book shows it, and it obviously wouldn't collapse the book, but I think it's a really good wrap up about the whole message of the story and something that everyone thinks about. And I think that when you're reading the book, you get the overall message, and that line really like takes it up, and I think it just completes the book, and it wouldn't be the same without it.
Okay, thank you for coming in today. Have a good day. Bye.